So, Mr. Burke, this lesson, I think, is on matter. Is that right?
Right. What's the matter?
What is the matter? So matter, what is matter made of? What is it? What is it?
Matter is anything that has mass, has
Our balance.
our balance, and takes up space or has volume.
Great. So anything, right?
Anything and everything.
Okay. So what does that include?
Just about everything we can name. Right?
Okay. So it seems to me, though, we can divide matter up into two different things, right?
Right.
We can say they're both pure substances and mixtures.
That's right.
So which one do you want to tackle today?
Well, let's do pure substances because they're easier
Okay.
and they're quicker to get through.
Great. Okay.
So let's take this out of our way. And the nice thing about pure substances is that we find them on the periodic table, either by themselves or in conjunction with other elements. So we can always write a chemical formula for a pure substance.
Okay, so pure substance, what you're saying is pure substance is either an element or a compound.
That's right.
And we know that elements are on the periodic table, and we know that compounds have definite formulas for them.
That's right.
Okay.
Made up
Of those elements, right.
Exactly.
Do you have some examples of elements?
I sure do. We'll take some of our favorite. Okay. So as we can see,
You want me to
iron.
hold that?
Well, that would work. This is
Yeah.
an iron shot. Actually, it's a lead shot, but we'll
That's
let
all
it
right.
go. All right, and we can see that
Okay,
when we look at it, we have a simple formula for
right. And it's on the periodic table as
It's
well.
definitely on the periodic table.
Okay, what do we have?
And then copper next, and we're going to give you a couple of different views of copper. This, again, pellets.
Looks like nuggets of copper, right?
Exactly. And then in a form we probably haven't seen too often, but this little bottle holds 1 mole of copper powder.
1 mole, is that, what, 63.55 grams?
Right. Or 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd particles.
There you go. That's good. They're both a mole.
Both moles. And then finally, we'll take a look at sulfur, which is this lovely yellow powder. Again, another element.
And sulfur is in a lot of pretty smelly compounds.
Exactly. This is what usually gets the chemistry department in trouble because it kind of smells like rotten eggs.
Right. I've dealt with that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Now we also have compounds.
Exactly.
Okay, so what kind of...
So compounds are made up of 2 elements or 2 or more elements. And we'll start with a real simple one that everyone is very familiar with and we normally see on a regular basis in the classroom, and that's water, H2O. So this is kind of a form that you guys have all seen.
And all water has the same formula, right?
Exactly.
So if it's not this formula, it's not water?
That's right. It's not
Okay.
water.
So no drinking H2O2.
No.
Okay.
But all our blonde friends like that because it helps them.
It bleaches their hair.
Bleaches
right?
their hair. Second compound, sodium chloride, which we've all seen on the table, or
Okay. That's
in
right.
this Morton salt container, or rock crystal if you were making ice cream.
Okay, so it seems like all these compounds and elements can have different forms, but they all have this formula for salt.
Exactly.
Would all be this.
Exactly.
Okay.
All of salt looks like that. And then finally, sodium bicarb, sodium bicarbonate, which
Okay.
is a little white powder. We have a lot of it in the lab because it's used to wipe up spills. So when we get to acids and bases and we drop acid, we're going to use this to clean it up and prevent anyone from getting burned or their clothes damaged.
You might also use this in the refrigerator, right?
Right.
So what does it do there?
It absorbs odors.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
It is. It's great stuff. And then you can put it down the toilet, and it cleans the toilet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Multiple uses for a very
Exactly.
common
And
compound.
I hear that you can also put out grease fires with it.
You can,
So have some around in the house. It's a good thing to have.
because it suffocates what we're going.
So, there are some properties of pure substances we need to talk about, right?
Definitely.
So one of them is density.
Right.
So,
And we know that this is something that's very, very important, that density, represented by the letter D, density is love. Because everyone knows you have to be dense to be in love, right? But density is actually a measure of the relationship between mass and volume. That's why the little heart with the line through it, easy to remember.
there you go. And it also combines the two things that is necessary for matter.
That's right.
Mass and
Exactly.
volume. So density is sort of like that unique property that substances have.
Every substance has it. It's unique. And it's one of the tools that's used when we go back to identify what compound we have in front of us. By determining what its density is and then looking at some of the other physical properties, which would include things like color, the state that it's in at room temperature, and then boiling point, melting point,
Right.
if we go a little further into some techniques, will help us to identify what we have.
Great. So we can use density to identify a substance that we don't really know.
That's right. That's right. And we'll
Good
actually use that in the lab before too long.
Super. So our next step is to take a look at the flip side, which are mixtures, right?
Right.
And they're different than these, but that's the next video.
Right. And it takes a lot longer to talk about because of the differences that appear in them. So the most important thing to remember is we're looking at our pure substances, is that if we have to identify them and we're given a name, we can always write a chemical formula for them. Always find them on the periodic table.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Burke.
Thank you, sir.